welcome to a special Nerd Informants webisode. It's film review time of epic proportions. 2 movies, 2 reviews. Nerd Informant style from Tim Church and Josh Grisham. Welcome to it, buddy.
All right.
2 big movies.
I'm stoked.
Now,
this is exciting.
What movies, you gotta tell everybody out there what movies we actually sat through to bring you the information.
All right. Newly released X-Men Apocalypse, and the even newer released Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. So, we're going to see what we liked, what we didn't like, our reviews on whether or not you should see this movie. These movies.
X-Men Apocalypse. So, which movie you want to put up in the hot seat first there, big guy?
Oh, we got to hit Apocalypse first, man.
All right.
That's for sure.
X-Men Apocalypse. You and I went to the Elite Cinema 3 at Branson's IMAX Entertainment Complex to check out the latest X-Men movie starring Oscar Isaac, Jennifer Lawrence, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Nicholas Hoult, Olivia Munn, and my word, it's a huge cast.
It's a fantastic cast. A lot of big names in there.
Okay, so what do you think? Did Bryan Singer continue the trend, or is this movie one that you want to cleanse your palate on and just wipe it from your memory?
Here's the deal. I still think that X-Men Days of Future Past is number 1 out of the recent trilogy. Days of Future Past has it. But I did like this one a lot more than I liked X-Men First Class.
Whoa!
So
that's high praise, buddy. That is high praise.
I don't think we hit Days of Future Past, but definitely we beat out X-Men First Class. We definitely beat out X-Men The Last Stand and Wolverine Origins. But he's petting himself because he liked it so much.
The movie, it stayed with me. It did stay with me. I'm going to break it down for you. Obviously, Oscar Isaac, in my eyes, can do no wrong.
That's right.
En Sabah Nur, he obviously played Apocalypse. Apocalypse, billed as the first mutant, if you will. It's been around before all mutants evolved.
Yeah.
Transferring his consciousness from person to person as he gets on the verge of death, thus absorbing powers and growing more powerful as he goes throughout time. Mm-hmm. When he meets up with the X-Men, it is an epic smackdown. And of course in the movie, Oscar Isaac in Apocalypse and how he drove his performance, he was able to change and morph his voice to make him sound more menacing. And of course he goes out and finds his 4 horsemen of the Apocalypse. And I'll tell you what, Oscar Isaac's standout performance. Michael Fassbender as Magneto, definitely a standout performance. And I was pleasantly surprised by Olivia Munn as Psylocke, although she wasn't given a lot to do.
That's right. That, as we discussed before the show, that was my biggest complaint with the whole movie. I was really excited to see Olivia Munn all purpled out, swords flying. It just didn't happen.
We didn't get a sword. We got a whip.
Okay? She had...
Not that that's not a fantasy I've ever had with Olivia Munn, but there you go.
She did not have the screen time that I thought she was going to have.
Not at all.
Compared to what we saw in the trailer to the actual movie, maybe an extra 10 minutes of screen time there. It just wasn't a lot. And the same kind of goes for Archangel and Storm. We really didn't get to see too terribly much of them as the 4 Horsemen. Now, I've heard that deleted scenes could show more than what we got to see in theaters. But in the movie itself, their performances were severely lacking. Not so much as character-wise, but in actual time on screen.
And I tell you what, Jennifer Lawrence, too, also, I mean, a continually strong performance as Mystique. She just owns that role. And I would not be surprised, and you and I talked about this a little bit, that actually Jennifer Lawrence could end up getting a solo outing as Mystique, and she could actually probably carry that film.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's been a lot of rumors going around the nerdverse right now that not only should she deserves her own standalone film, and I'd be very much behind that. However, Jennifer Lawrence has talked recently that she'd like to come away from this character a little bit and try out different superhero roles. So I guess we'll see what the future holds there. But Josh, I'm going to be perfectly honest, and I don't want to beat around the bush here. Evan Peters stole the show for me.
Boy, did he ever.
Evan Peters as Quicksilver. We got to see him for a tiny bit in Days of Future Past, and he definitely stole the show back then. And I think he did it once more with the fantastic performance he put on in this movie.
So as far as you're concerned, again, stand-up performance, I'm going to have to be inclined to agree with you because really, just from the moment he's on screen, I mean, he's kitschy. He's just got that manic energy about him, and the way he just seeks into the role as Quicksilver is just fantastic. And I tell you what, all the work that went into his standout scene in X-Men Apocalypse, it really, really shows, because I tell you what, the stop motion, the technology that they applied to it was really a visual stunner on screen.
And early on, even before we really started getting into the trailers and seeing what this movie could be, we were already being told that Evan Peters was on the scene, on the set way before the other actors were, and he was still on set even after the main actors were, to shoot this large-scale scene that you're going to get to see in the movie, kind of his reintroduction as Quicksilver on the big screen. And he was on the set for about a total of 3 months shooting this one scene. So that's insane.
A lot of good work, and trust me, when you go and see it for the first time, your mind will be blown by it. Evan Peters, a standout as Quicksilver. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put it out there. Spoiler warning, folks, so if you don't want to know anything about the movie itself or the ending scene to it, I would suggest that you probably turn away now. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I want you to talk about Sophie Turner and Sophie Turner as Jean Grey. Quite frankly, I think she did fantastic in the role. I can't wait to see more. And it's been confirmed the next X-Men movie is going to be set in the 90s, so we could get a very particular saga. Your thoughts?
All right, here's the deal. Here's where the real spoiler's going to come in, folks. So if you've not already muted for the moment or whatever, if you don't want to know, then definitely you need to turn away now. We got to see Jean Grey as the Phoenix.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Flame on. I'm sorry,
Okay.
wrong movie.
Well,
Wrong movie. You
I
have to get the taste out of your mouth on that one. I'm sorry. That's my bad.
I forgive you for that one.
Sorry.
But no, we got to see Sophie Turner, we got a lot of back and forth across the Nerdverse on whether or not she was actually going to be able to fulfill this role that we saw in the first 3 X-Men movies.
Everybody was probably saying that she wasn't going to be able to shed like Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah. So, but honestly, while I saw her on screen, I didn't think about Sansa Stark once. Honestly,
Didn't either.
She totally had a totally different character set for Jean Grey. There's not even a hint of Sansa Stark in her, which, while I'm okay with, I wouldn't have been disappointed if Sansa had shown up, because I love them both very, very much.
Sansa Stark in X-Men. No.
I'd be for it. But no, in all honesty, back to the spoiler part, Sansa Stark, Sansa Stark, now I'm down that road. I gotta turn around. Sophie Turner as Jean Grey put on one heck of a performance, and especially at the climax of the movie where things really start going, we got to hint at exactly how powerful Jean Grey is. A little bit of that power was interestingly shown in X-Men The Last Stand, when they tried to do some sort of Phoenix Saga thing that really didn't work out.
No, not at all. It was horribly conceived.
So
I don't like you, Brett Ratner, at all.
It really hurt my heart whole the way that they did in Last Stand. But from what we saw in this movie, I think it's safe to say that if they continue down this line towards the Phoenix Saga, they're going in the right direction. I was very, very, very satisfied with Sophie Turner's Jean Grey. I was also very satisfied with Cyclops in Nightcrawler. Okay, I was very worried about those two. And Josh's freeze frame. So I'll just keep talking. Ty Sheridan as Cyclops. Nightcrawler by some kid I don't know, but he was really fantastic. Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler.
Okay, I'm fixed.
Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler.
Yes, Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler was amazing. The opening battle between him and Angel, stellar. The makeup was there, but I want you to know that he is still Kurt Wagner from the Munich Circus, where he was known as the Incredible Nightcrawler.
That's what I was waiting for.
I said that to Tim during the movie at least a half a dozen times, maybe even more.
And it was funny every time.
He laughed, literally, every time. But no, X-Men Apocalypse, I would say, I mean, for me, it would probably get about 7.5 pocket protectors out of 10.
I think I can agree with that. I really can.
You wouldn't rate it higher?
No.
It's a far from perfect movie, folks. I will tell you that much.
There's parts of it that just it jumps around a lot. I think things just kind of happen, and you're just like, how did that get there? I'm not 100% sold on it. It was still fun to watch. Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse wasn't as bad as everyone said he was gonna be. The character, the way he looked,
the look was really distracting. It didn't grab my attention at all.
It wasn't as Ivan Oozish as everyone thought it was going to be when the first images of him came out on screen, but at the same time, it wasn't that classic comic book early 90s cartoon version of Apocalypse that the nerds really wanted, and I really wanted. So I thought maybe they'd upgrade his costume as the movie went along. Maybe he'd get something new, and he'd change a little bit, but he didn't. He just kind of stayed the same looking the entire time, and that was kind of disappointing to me.
Yeah, Singer, I hate to tell you this, buddy, but you went too full Egyptian on us.
Yeah.
That was the thing. And obviously you learned a lesson, because when you released the stills of Apocalypse at the very beginning of this whole process, you released the ones that had him lit up purple. Big mistake. He's blue. Thank you very much. All right, man, moving on. I would say, I mean, obviously you heard our recommendation, 7.5 pocket protectors out of 10. It is totally watchable, but it is not the X-Men movie that many of you are probably wanting. So just go to the theater with that in mind. With that being said, just this afternoon, you and I took it upon ourselves to go and sit down and watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Hence the shirt. We went and saw it at Branson's IMAX Entertainment Complex, breaking the fourth wall. Hello, Tom Forrester.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So that being said, I mean, obviously, different director. There was still that projection injection of Michael Bay behind this movie, and you'll be able to know when that happens, when you watch it.
You will, and you'll gasp, and you'll cry, and...
I will say that this movie, it tapped into the fan in me. And that's it. It tapped into the fan in me. If you know nothing about the Ninja Turtles movie and you go and watch this, or Ninja Turtles lore, let me just tell you right now that when you go and see this film, you're going to be incredibly lost if you know nothing about the Ninja Turtles. Because the movie, Tim, and you said it best, it just simply expects you to know everything.
Yeah.
And suspend disbelief.
Yeah.
Why would I say something like that?
Here's the thing, Josh. I felt the entire movie was, once again, kind of like Apocalypse, was just kind of jumping around and not really explaining why it was happening, or why this was happening, or why that was happening. It was just happening, and everybody was okay with it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I mean, obviously, we got some nostalgia in this one. It really is a movie that caters to the fan. I believe that, and I got that sense throughout the entire movie, because in the film itself, obviously, you got April O'Neil, although she scaled back in this one. They really scaled down Megan Fox's role, which for me, I think worked for the good. It worked for the good, because to me, she's not my April O'Neil, and you'll know why. Check us out on Facebook, and you'll understand where that comment comes from, folks. She's not my April O'Neil, so I'm glad she was scaled back in the role. This Vern guy... he doesn't even have a place in the movies. I don't even know why they put a focus on him. If they do a third one on this one, buddy, would you agree with me? They just need to get away with his character and just eliminate him completely.
Yeah, I agree with that. Will Arnett, I love you dearly. I think you should focus on getting back into your comedy. Yeah. That's where you belong.
Yeah.
You don't belong with these turtles.
Nope.
You belong...
You don't belong.
in Arrested Development.
Pretty much.
But you did have a good thing to say about this movie, Josh. The one thing that I've heard several times since we got out of the theater was about two particular characters.
Yes. I'm going to tell you, let's just put it this way, that Bebop and Rocksteady are everything that you want them to be. Warthog, Rhinoceros, epic forces that just can't be stopped unless you lock them in a shipping crate and put a grenade in there. Even then, that doesn't stop them. But no, WWE superstar Sheamus, it's perfect. Bebop and Rocksteady, from the design scheme, the way they did it, the subtle touches, the goggles on Rocksteady's head, the purple sunglasses for Bebop. I mean, it's all completely perfect. Pitch perfect. Excellent casting. The guys did a great job of the role. I mean, it's all CGI, but really, those characters really stood out throughout the entire film. The two actors were just, you can tell they were having fun with it, and they fit perfectly.
They did.
And that's why I say this movie caters to the fan. It gave us Bebop and Rocksteady. I never thought I would see that in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film. Moving on, though, from Bebop and Rocksteady, those are the standout. You're going to agree with me when you go and see it. But we have yet to see a perfect Shredder on screen since 1991, folks.
That's right.
Through these two movies, produced by Michael Bay and not directed this time around by Michael Bay, they still cannot get Shredder right. He looked like an Under Armour model.
That's right. We basically got an Under Armour shirt, really dinky looking things on his arms.
Over-exaggerated wrist blades. Let's just put it that way. They don't need to be.
And a helmet that looked like he was fixing to go underwater.
Yeah, and it was black. It's not even the right color. Yeah. What's the deal? And obviously, we talked about the relationships, obviously, that Shredder becomes connected with Krang. Mm-hmm. And then we're just expected to understand how that relationship develops and how they even know each other.
Yeah.
But you get fan service such as the Technodrome in the movie. Krang was well done. Krang was also another visual standout that I really, really appreciated because they got the design scheme, Wayne. They just went with it. He's a brain, he talks, and they really went with the design scheme. I was thoroughly impressed with Krang. What'd you think about Krang?
He was okay. They were trying to make him funny at certain aspects. I wasn't scared of him as a villain. I didn't feel that villain-esque thing. I just kind of felt like he was there. But the overall look of him was what I remember from the cartoons when I was a kid.
Exactly.
And that's what I look for in these movies.
Even the suit that he hung out in.
That's very true. And the way the suit acted towards him. It was very relevant to the cartoons that I watched as a kid. And I kind of feel that was the overall theme of the movie. There was a lot of throwbacks to the early Nickelodeon days of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Even the turtle truck. Yeah. Even the turtle van was there. That's right. And, I mean, I will tell you, let's put it this way. I mean, I would say that this particular film, folks, it's fan service. It caters to the fan. If you know the Ninja Turtles, you're going to go in and just shut your mind off and you're going to enjoy it. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you my rating on it. I'm going to give it 6 pocket protectors out of 10. What do you think about that?
I'm going to give it 4.5.
4.5. All right. 4.5.
And I'll tell you why.
It's not high marks. Lay it on me.
We haven't got to this part yet. The reason I gave that is because I was really looking forward to Stephen Amell, my favorite Green Arrow,
Casey Jones.
As Casey Jones.
Casey Jones.
Here's the deal. He had a total... It felt like he was the Olivia Munn, Psylocke, of this Turtles movie.
He got munned.
He got munned. I think we can hashtag that. Hashtag got munned. Because he only had maybe 15 to 20 minutes of actual screen time the entire movie. We only got to see him in his mask for maybe 3 minutes of the movie. He wasn't rocking out the traditional costume. The mask looked good. The hockey stick he had looked good. But we didn't see a lot of the things that I wanted to see in Casey Jones, who is, outside of Mikey, one of my favorite TMNT characters. So, I didn't get what I wanted out of the character. And that's not to say Stephen Amell did an amazing job. I was honestly worried because the only main thing I've ever seen him in is as Oliver Queen on the CW show Arrow. But he totally had a totally different character. Not once was I really thinking about, oh, that's Oliver Queen, or oh, that's the Green Arrow, or oh, he's heading to the Arrow Cave and not down into the sewer. Okay? Not once did I actually think about that. So that's a plus for him. He did a really awesome performance in this role. I just wanted more, and I didn't get more.
All right. So obviously, we've got a difference of opinion when it comes to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not by much. No. Not by much. You're going to get recommendation on both of them from me. I would say go out and check them out. Shut your mind off and just enjoy pure summer fun, folks. One thing I want to lay on you, though. If they do make a third Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, what can they do to get it back on track, in your opinion? What can they do to make it better? Or can they do anything? Or should they just scrap it all together? And wait a few years or longer.
I think we're at a point. They made the second one. They announced the second one just shortly after the first one went into theaters. So I think we'll find out within the next week or so whether a third one is going to be a possibility right away or if it could be a few years down the road. But I feel like if they are going to make a third one, they need to make it more adult friendly. I kind of felt like the storyline was meant so a child could follow it. Yes, I know. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are for children. I get it. But guess what? This is supposed to be an adult-verse movie to where a child can enjoy it and their parents and your fellow nerd informant can all enjoy it together. But I feel they need a more adult theme for the movie. They need it to be scarier. Okay?
Scarier.
As a kid, Shredder terrified me. This dude playing Shredder, nothing.
No.
Nothing. Even as an adult, I at least want goosebumps when he comes on the screen. But I don't get that.
The guy didn't even get his mask until the very end of this newest movie, guys.
Okay.
Now, I told Tim, I said, I want to see classic Shredder on screen. Minimalistic garb. Purple, black, cape, chrome hat, not black.
That's right.
Minimalized wrist blades.
Amen.
And he can take on the turtles.
Hallelujah.
I don't want hulking giant turtles with crap all over them.
Yeah. Give me a traditional turtle.
The turtles that I grew up with had their bandanas, their shells, elbow pads, knee pads, and their weapons, and then their belts with their letters on them, and that was it. Yeah. And Splinter wears a red gi, for Christ's sakes. Yeah. How hard is that? How hard is that to figure out? Just give me minimalized turtles. They're not 10 feet tall. Yeah. Okay? Yeah.
Give me more Splinter. That's something I've left out. I want more Splinter in the movie. I didn't get enough Splinter in this movie. He had even less time than Casey Jones did.
Yeah, and so, I don't want to see turtles that are so powerful that they can like kill 50,000 foot soldiers. The one-on-one battles are awesome with foot soldiers. You know, like they actually have a chance of being defeated. That's more realistic. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Can you do that for me in the next Turtles movie? I mean that might make it watchable, possibly. And for God's sakes, get rid of Michael Bay.
Throw him out the door.
Throw him out the door. That's all I got to say, dude. Hey, we just did 2 film reviews.
That's right.
Back to back. Completely off the cuff. Yeah. And that's something that we've really never done before.
That's true.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm excited about it. But we want to see what you think about it. So make sure you subscribe to Nerd Informants on YouTube. And while you're subscribing, leave us some comments. And also let us know what movies you want us to review next.
We'll review anything.
Anything. You let us know. Actually, let's be honest, Josh. Whether it's coming out new in the theater, or if it's a movie that's been out for a few years, and you want to hear our opinions on it, we want to give that to you. So comment below, or you can comment on our Facebook page, Nerd Informants. Go and like us, or you can tweet at us and follow us on Twitter. So lots of ways to get in contact with us. Just let us know what you think.
It's
we're
easy.
Here to abide.
Nerd Informants, There's one thing I can say, my friend, to end this film review of X-Men Apocalypse and the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of Shadows. You know what I'm going to say?
What are you going to say?
All right here. Yin. Cowabunga!